Guys, I don't know the kind of statistics South Africans and Ghanaians they are consuming when it comes to economic issues. That is something I want to address right now because most of them they don't really understand how the economy works and they don't really look at data that are being fed to them online, like what they are consulting. IMF report has it that yes, Nigeria is one of the biggest economy and Ghana is the 11th largest economy in Africa. That is something. They are not among the 10 largest. These guys will tell you that they have high buying power than Nigeria. That is what I need to explain because yes, I have a master's in business administration. I did economics and I did a lot of things. I studied a lot of things, when it comes to economic issues. Forget about this music thing that I'm into right now. I want to address all of this because you guys don't really understand how it plays out. Ranking economy in Africa, according to IMF, they rank Egypt as the largest or the biggest economy in Africa with about $398.397 billion. That is the gross domestic product, GDP. And then followed by Nigeria with over $390 billion in GDP. And we have South Africa as the third largest economy with $380.906 billion. And when you look at the per capita income, you see that Egypt is higher than Nigeria with about 3,000 or so dollars, and we have Nigeria at about $1,700, almost $2,000. We have South Africa, which is the highest. This is owing to the population because you have to divide the gross domestic product with the population of that particular country, and that is why South Africa is a bit higher. But another thing they don't understand in South Africa is distribution of income. They don't really understand it. In Nigeria, we have distribution of income which is not fair enough. It's not at equilibrium. And economy cannot be at equilibrium. The number of poor people in Nigeria is much more than the number of rich people in Nigeria. That is why in Nigeria you find the rich people becoming super rich and the poor people becoming very poor. That does not mean that they don't thrive economically. I don't think they understand statistics enough, and that is why they are making the mistakes of purchasing power. Let me give you issues with purchasing power when you are using it to calculate economic output and economic prosperity to an extent. Comparison of national wealth are also frequently made on the basis of purchasing power parity, PPP. To adjust for differences in the cost of living in different countries, PPP largely removes the exchange rates problem, but has its own drawbacks. It does not reflect the value of economic output in international trade, and it also requires more estimation than normal GDP. On the whole, PPP per capita income figures are more narrowly spread than normal GDP per capita figures. I think these guys, they don't really understand economy. Yes, Nigeria is about the biggest economy after Egypt in Africa, and we have to respect Nigeria for that, staying on top. South Africa, they are projecting through IMF that in 2026 they are going to overtake Nigeria with over 400 and something billion dollars, and that is what they are projecting. And projection means if you do the right things, if you do your things right, if everything is head constant, that is something you need to understand about the whole thing. And a lot of people are confusing themselves with these economics gimmicks and the rest. South Africa is prosperous economically to an extent, but when it comes to like the buying power, South Africa always take it to themselves that they have more buying power. You need to understand that they use credit card in South Africa where they can give you some thousands of dollars to spend. In Nigeria, we don't use credit card, we pay in cash. If you want a car, you don't use credit card, you pay in cash. So that is a difference between us and South Africa, and that shows that we have more buying power than South Africa. These people cannot really understand it from that point of view because they have a brainwashed mindset that they are better than Nigeria, but on paper, on social media, they are better than Nigeria. But when it comes to doing the right thing, doing the real thing, we are better. When it comes to entertainment, we dey on top. That thing they pain them too much. That is what they need to understand about the whole story. I think Mzazi network, there's something actually wrong. A whole lot of statistics wrong on Nzazi network, and they need to like polish it very well and do some general auditing. That is what I believe, because most of their people are getting confused with this data. Remember that in 2022, Nigeria was the biggest economy, and then with about $477 billion before they dropped as a result of some issues in Nigeria, political issues. Now Egypt is on top of Nigeria. That is a big one, and we have to acknowledge it from that dimension. But people will come out, Ghanaians that are not even ranking the 10 largest economy in Africa, they still they rub shoulders with Nigeria. Sometimes those people, they amaze me, because I try to understand whether they teach economics in their school. I don't think they teach, because of the kind of people I see, the kind of statement they make online. You have to understand that the highest per capita income country in Africa, we have Seychelles, is the richest country in Africa with a gross national income per capita of about $14,000. And we have Mauritius, and followed by some other countries like Libya and the rest. Why is it so? Because they have to divide your GDP with your population. That is where the problem lies right now. Taking everything constant, but they need to understand that there's what they call income distribution. That is why we don't really rely on per capita income to an extent to define the buying power of a particular population. Some Nigerians are coming at me to say, stop talking about Ghana in bad light. This is capable of causing some diplomatic issues and other things. You should advise Ghanaians to stop harassing Nigerians. This is a report actually by a particular doctor, and he said this: Nigerians are being harassed by Ghanaian police and nothing is being done about it. Even their authorities are in approval of it. That is quite disturbing. I've seen a report on that. About 700 Nigerians were deported from Ghana, and a lot of things, a lot of twisted things about that. A lot of Nigerians are being bullied in Ghana. A lot of Nigerians are losing their businesses in Ghana. I cannot defend all Nigerians. We have some few bad eggs in those countries around the world. Yes, you can say that these guys are into crimes and the rest. We have few bad eggs in those countries, and you need to understand that it is not easy for a foreigner to commit crimes successfully in a particular place without the help of the locals. That is something you need to understand. So now they are criminalizing Nigerians, and that is really not what we should be doing right now. Instead of us to stop this kind of hating with a purposeful mission at heart, these guys are brewing some kind of agendas against Nigeria. I want you to find this topic. It was published by Sahara Reporters: How Ghanaian Police Illegally Raid, Harass, Extort Money from Nigerians in Ghana. That is coming in from a particular activist and was published on October 20, 2021. Igwe, in an article titled "Guilty of Being Nigerian in Ghana," revealed that the Ghanaian policemen had constantly raided illegally the apartments of Nigerian communities in Ghana to extort money from them without any intervention from the authorities. Dr. Leo Igwe has actually made a report on that. I think a lot of people are calling on Nigerian government to protect Nigerians in the diaspora, and this is not well managed by the APC's administration. Ranging from the period of Muhammadu Buhari to the period of Tinubu, they are not managing this. Nigerians in diaspora are not being protected.